Right now on the National Weather Desk, extreme weather. While the South braces for the threat of severe storms, the West digs out of even more snow.
Homeowners in Bass Lake have been stuck indoors since Thursday. The roads are covered with 3 feet of snow, and they haven't been plowed.
How is California's growing snowpack impacting the state's lengthy drought?
We can really start getting rid of the cautious in front of optimism.
And how the weather is impacting California wineries.
I don't remember anything quite like this.
We'll look at the history of weaponizing the weather and why a bald eagle comeback in Ohio appears to be slowing down.
The slowdown might be nature at work.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. We will get to the storm that's pounding California with even more snow in just a moment. But first, we're tracking the chance of severe weather in the south and the threat. It could last for days here. Let's turn to meteorologist Brian Vanderkaff to see what's in store.
Yeah, we have a couple days of weather, and today weather already firing off from Dallas in the eastern portion of Texas, and this unsettled weather down here in the south will continue its trek to the north and east and affect a good chunk of the Tennessee Valley through the afternoon. Let me show you the areas highlighted here in this yellow. These are the areas under that slight level 2 risk from anywhere from Dallas to Little Rock to Memphis, even over towards Huntsville and back towards Greenville, Mississippi. We're talking about severe damaging gusts, large hail, and a few isolated tornadoes. The severe risk does continue for the next couple of days. We'll keep you posted.
All right, thanks, Brian. To Reno, Nevada now, where they saw blizzard-like conditions Monday and into Tuesday. A winter storm warning was in effect early this morning. The Reno Police Department is asking residents to limit driving due to all the wind, the snow, and the ice.
Since the highway is closed, just stay home until it's open. If you have to go out, give us some room and chain up and drive slow.
And there is some good news on the way for Reno residents. That storm system is moving out today, and temperatures will be in the 40s through Friday. All across the Sierra, this is what road crews are dealing with right here. Just amazing. Caltrans tweeting out this photo this morning. Look at this. Just look at how high the snow is on the side of the road here. As Rich Rodriguez explains, the snow has trapped some people in their homes for days, with many relying on generators for power.
Homeowners in Bass Lake have been stuck indoors since Thursday. The roads are covered with 3 feet of snow, and they haven't been plowed.
We dug the car out. We thought we were going to get out. We got stuck in the middle of the road.
The road to the Pines Resort is plowed and open, but the Pines was forced to close Saturday because there's no power. Friday night, the Pines put up tourists with no place to stay.
There was even people from Airbnbs that couldn't get into the Airbnbs. They kind of took refuge in our facilities. And we probably had like 44 rooms where guests stayed in the rooms and just got their fireplaces going.
The Pines Market is staying open a few hours a day to make sure locals can get groceries. Keeping the roads on the property clear is a nonstop job.
Our crews have been working like day and night trying to move snow, and even trying to figure out where to put the snow is a little bit of a challenge.
As for all the roads in Bass Lake covered in snow, Madera County Public Works is on the job and sending in reinforcements. The county is concerned because homeowners are running out of propane. Nancy Gunning is down to 19%.
It's a scary time.
People aren't just stuck at home. They're also stuck on the highways in their cars. California Highway Patrol shared this video showing cars, a truck, and even a snowplow apparently unable to move. It was taken on I-80 at Donner Pass, which received at least 36 inches over the past 2 days. And with all of that snow and rain, many are asking how it's impacting California's drought. As Mason Carroll explains, one way to answer that is to look at snowpack levels.
At this stage in the season, confidence is increasing that we'll be in a better but not perfect situation this dry season after what has been a strange winter.
And it's certainly easy to look at that and go, what do you mean we might still be in a drought up north? I just had a foot of snow or 3 inches of snow in Red Bluff. That doesn't happen to me very often, you know. It's just unfortunately, we're coming off such a dire drought.
The state breaks up the snowpack into 3 regions, and in the central region lies the UC Berkeley Snow Lab near Donner Pass. Here, the snowfall amounts have been remarkable. So what does that abundance mean in the longer-term picture?
I think we can really start getting rid of the cautious in front of optimism when we're talking about this current water year. And with each successive storm now, it's more and more likely that we're going to impact favorably our long-term drought conditions. Now, that comes with a caveat. Water in the southwestern U.S. and in California is an incredibly complex monster. And so one season of good rain and snow isn't going to get rid of all of our water issues. With that being said, it's time to celebrate having a lot of good rain and snow.
And now to Ohio, where people are still cleaning up following tornadoes on Monday. I mean, take a look at this damage left behind in Butler County. It's just north of Cincinnati, where an EF1 tornado touched down. Winds reached 110 miles per hour. Another tornado touched down in Orient, just south of Columbus. The EF0 twister flipped at least 2 mobile homes there. The National Weather Service says the tornado packed winds up to 85 miles per hour. Steve Levine continues our coverage.
But everybody's got a porch from somebody's house in their yard that didn't belong to them at all.
Jeff Cooper shows us the mess the tornado left behind, ripping apart and scattering pieces of homes and trees in the quiet neighborhood.
And literally 2 trees went in the air, and then I was in the house and hunkered down.
Yeah, there it goes, Ken's, right there. Right there's the tornado, right there.
Oh my gosh, that freaked me out.
Jeff recording this video on his cell phone seconds after the twister left the community.
Pretty amazing, but that's the 5th one I've been in, so I mean, it wasn't like it was new, but that was the scariest one.
Minutes after the storm left this path of destruction, Jeff went into action.
Jump right in. Yeah, climb up there and crawl down the hallway.
Jeff shows us how he climbed through this window after his neighbor's mobile home was blown to its side to rescue 2 longtime neighbors.
And when they saw you? Oh, they were happy. They were happy. Good friends of mine.
Something you'll never forget.
I will not. They won't either.
People in Norman, Oklahoma will also remember this storm for years to come. Cleanup continues where a tornado touched down Sunday night. The red SUV right there that the twister flipped over still sits where the storm left it. While a dozen people were injured, thankfully, no one was killed. While large portions of the country have seen a wild winter with lots of snow, ice, and rain, that's not the case for everyone. In the Great Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, the winter has been warmer than normal, and this has had a major impact on local ski resorts. Rex Hodge reports that one resort near Asheville that ended their season early.
It's getting close to the final runs on the slopes.
It's slushy.
Kurt Grammel, here from Oklahoma, is more accustomed to conditions in the Rockies.
But this is so delightful in 60-degree weather.
But learning Catalucci will close at the end of the day Wednesday.
I suspected that, yes. Too many brown spots.
With the weather and the snow depth, you know, after another day or two, we're going to be struggling to find enough snow.
General Manager Chris Bates says another 3 weeks would have been nice. He says he's seen weather patterns like this before.
All different times of the year. We're in North Carolina, and you know, it has its ups and downs.
Obviously, right now with the warm weather, very slow, very quiet.
The warmth prompting a shift in strategy at the Skis and Tees shop in Maggie Valley.
Trends continue. Yeah, the shop will keep transforming into more winter sales, but more you'll start seeing more T-shirt side of stuff.
We do shift our messaging on our website and our social media, so we're no longer telling people to come snow tube because it's not an option. Remind people to go explore the parkway while it's open if the weather's good, go for an early spring hike.
And now to a new report that has some worried because Antarctic sea ice is at a record low level. Measurements show it was at 691,000 square miles on February 21st. That's the smallest amount on record, down from last year's 741,000 square miles. Scientists say climate change could be the reason, but some say it's too early to make that sort of conclusive link. And now to a bit of news that is really out of this world. The DNA of 4 former presidents will be sent into space. Celestic, a space burial company, is sending the symbolic remains of George Washington, Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, and Ronald Reagan on his Enterprise flight. The special launch was announced on February 20th, which of course it fits. It was President's Day. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll talk with an expert about how the weather has been used as a weapon, plus a look at how California's wild wet winter is impacting wine crops.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
6 inches of snow in Rhode Island. No problem for this determined squirrel. It was a stretch, but not impossible to get a bite to eat from this bird feeder. And it seems this critter found a trove of bird seed under the snow blanket and had a grubbin' good time. And in parts of Utah, squalls brought snow, lightning, and thunder, also known as thundersnow.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
During the Vietnam War, the U.S. military secretly deployed a controversial technique called cloud seeding to try and control the weather. Emily Gracie spoke to an author who wrote about the history of weather modification. She started by asking him to explain what that is.
The military's use or attempted use of the atmosphere as a potential weapon. We humans have been trying it for hundreds of years, and it really culminated with Operation Popeye in Southeast Asia. One of the identified targets was the Ho Chi Minh Trail, to try to wash out the Ho Chi Minh Trail just by cloud seeding and having it, increasing the rainfall in that area. And it's impossible to know because, you can't really do a true experiment because we can't replicate Southeast Asia. I found some declassified documents that they found that they had some limited successes, but it just really wasn't worth it. It would have been far more worth their effort from a military standpoint to take that money and instead of using the C-130s to drop silver iodine to make gunships out of them.
I hear people ask a lot, like, can't you drop a bunch of ice cubes into a hurricane to make it dissipate? What kind of experiments have been done?
Project Cirrus. They attempted with 180 pounds of dry ice pellets. We have tried that. We also theorized that we could steer them with nuclear weapons. Even though you're releasing a tremendous amount of energy with a nuclear detonation, it pales in comparison to the energy that's released overall over the period of a lifespan of a hurricane. No amount of nuclear weapons that we have could significantly alter the course of a hurricane.
This is likely not something that we're going to be using down the road in the future, then, I'm guessing.
I don't think so. The direction has been toward greater precision, greater accuracy. With like weather modification, you can't say 403 Maine, make a lightning bolt right there. That's just, you can't do that. But we can put a 500-pound bomb or a 250-pound bomb right there.
And if you want to hear Ed talk about the conspiracy behind chemtrails, head over to our YouTube channel where we have a longer version of this interview. Just search the National Weather Desk and subscribe while you are there. In California, bad weather just keeps coming and it's presenting challenges for those managing vineyards. Leslie Brinkley spent a day with a winemaker to get a sense of what they're dealing with.
As crazy as it's been, and I've been in this business over 40 years, and I don't remember anything quite like this.
A walk in this Cabernet Sauvignon vineyard in the hills of Livermore wine country is eye-opening. Snow on the mountains, mud on the ground, still dormant vines, and not much work to be done right now in this cycle of rain, frost, wind, and repeat.
The underground aquifers refilled, which is critical for us long term. So in a weird kind of way, it's very inconvenient. We can't get in the vineyard to do any work. It's too muddy. The tractors are getting stuck.
The rains soak and then run off the hillside vineyards. This winemaker is more worried about vineyards in flatter areas like south of San Jose or east into Lodi. Deep puddles that sit for too long can cause root rot. Everywhere, 2023 is turning into a real wild card of a wine year so far. Growers are delaying pruning to inhibit frost damage and hoping things warm up in the next month, even though the weather models forecast continued cold, rainy weather ahead. If it's still like this come April 1st, there could be real problems.
Factor in labor, labor difficulties. It is definitely more difficult to grow grapes these days. I don't know what to anticipate.
In Green Bay, the changing weather conditions have impacted the sturgeon harvest, but anglers were still able to catch some near record-setting fish. Eric Peterson has more.
I would say that this year was a very successful year. I mean, even with the weird weather, we had a lot of spears come out and a lot of fish were harvested.
DNR sturgeon biologist Margaret Stadig says rain, snow, and windy conditions created challenges for those on the ice.
Upper Lake season was surprisingly long.
Stadig says conditions on Lake Winnebago had an impact too. She says water clarity below the ice started at about 13 feet.
Most people were seeing bottom, which was great. We then had that rain event that came through and it kind of muddied the water. This past weekend, a lot of people were saying just water clarity was not as great as it has been, 6 feet maybe, 3 feet in others.
She says spearers harvested 1,120 sturgeon, which was 49 fewer than in 2022. This campaign ranks 25th out of 83 seasons on Lake Winnebago. System-wide, there were 46 fish over 100 pounds, including this one. Season champion Jim Gishkowski speared this 177.3-pound, 79.9-inch monster on Lake Winnebago.
Just amazing. I've never seen a fish that big. That's the biggest fish I've ever seen.
From fish to birds, we go now to Ohio, where bald eagle populations have made an amazing comeback in the last few decades. But as James Pilcher shows us, the rate of growth among the majestic birds is slowing.
Bald eagles were removed from the endangered species list in 2012, and since then, the growth in Ohio's eagle population has skyrocketed. In fact, the number of eagle nesting pairs in Ohio's southwest region went from 9 to more than 70 in just 8 years. But last year, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources reported only a 2% growth in nesting pairs statewide. Avian flu killed a few eagles in Ohio, while another immature female named Witcher just died of an undetermined illness in Indiana, following attempts by the Red Wolf Sanctuary to save her. But Ohio DNR wildlife biologist Laura Kearns says the slowdown might be nature at work.
In some ways unusual to see that much growth. So honestly, seeing a slowing in the growth rate is not necessarily a bad thing.
The Cincinnati Zoo has 5 bald eagles, including these 4 on permanent display. Griffin, Klaus, Irene, and Carla can't fly because of previous injuries. Head bird keeper Ricky Kinley says the species is still thriving in Ohio despite the slowdown.
The bald eagle is quite an American success story. So back in the 70s, there were less than 4 in the state of Ohio. 4 pairs. Now we have around 800 nesting pairs.
And as we go to break, we'll take a ride in a helicopter and look at all of the snow coating the mountain communities in San Bernardino, California.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, parts of the South have seen record temperatures leading to some very early allergies. Meteorologist Ryan Mirando has more.
Our bloom is incredibly early, sitting almost 3 weeks ahead of schedule. That red color throughout the southeast is showing the bloom is well ahead of schedule, and it's really raising the pollen levels. The tree pollen levels near high right now. The mold is moderate, ragweed and grass little to none, but these tree pollen and the mold has really been ramping up, and it's all really to do with our record heat. This scatter plot here shows how temperatures were for each day. Above this normal line, temperatures above average, below they are below average, and really through the first half of the February, it still was very warm. There was only one day of a cool day and cool night. Most of it has been above the average, but really the second half of February was when temperatures really ramped up. Notice all those dots in the far top right corner. That's all of the records that we broke. We only had 2 days with a cold day and a cold night. We actually broke the record for number of 80-degree days in February here in Macon.
And you know, we'd love to connect with you. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll bring you the latest from that storm system in the south. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Wednesday, and we'll see you right back here